What is up, YouTube? It's Frank with What's the Point EDC. Today we have 3 knives in CPM-Cruwear. If you like Cruwear knives, if you like USA made knives, if you like high hardness custom knives, this is probably the video for you. Stick around, you guys. Let's get familiar with these 3 knives here. We'll start it off with the most popular one that's so well known, the Spyderco Paramilitary 2, aka the PM2. Cruwear and Micarta edition. It is definitely my favorite PM2 of them all. On to the next one. How about the Kari Customs Huck? Such a fire fixed blade. We have a Lynch leather slip right here. So nice. Look at that. That's high quality stuff right there. All 3 of these knives are USA made. The materials are also USA made. Now, on to this one right here. We have the one and only Inflictor EDC, designed by me, made by Don with Blessed Knives. Nice Kydex sheath right here. There it is, the one and only Inflictor EDC. I absolutely love this knife. It's a perfect EDC fixed blade in my opinion. Not the perfect, a perfect. So what do we have going on here? All 3 are USA made. All 3 are CPM-Cruwear steel. Now before we go any farther, I want to shout out 2 people. 1, Don with Blessed Knives. 2, Callari with Kari Customs. I'm going to put a link to both of their Instagrams in the description. I want you guys to go check them out, see what drops they have, talk to them about anything you have, any questions you have, and see what they can do as far as customs. They're both USA made, and they're both solid people who are awesome quality knife makers right here in America. Before we go any farther, let's just say this. There's 2 different kinds of Cruwear. You have the ingot Cruwear, which is standard Cruwear, and then you have the super steel Cruwear, which is CPM-Cruwear, which is the powdered steel, which is made by the crucible powder metallurgy process. You know, it's a finer grain, a tighter structure. It has, instead of chromium carbide, it has vanadium carbide, so it's a smaller carbide, but that's even stronger, you know, to resist chipping and cracking, because it actually is a high hardness, air hardening tool steel. You know, you can go from 60 to 65 HRC is what it says in their literature. But the crazy thing is this right here, the Inflictor EDC, is actually 65 to 66 HRC. And I've never seen Cruwear at 66 HRC, so it's going to be very interesting to know what's up with that. But as far as this Huck goes, this is 65 HRC and it kicks ass for real. Now let's just start off with this one right here. I've really liked this knife. I've done a whole bunch of testing with it. I've done hard use testing and I've done edge retention testing, and I have videos on both of those. I'm going to put a link to both of them in the description. I want you to check it out and tell me what you think about the Kari Customs Huck and how good his Cruwear is. This thing's 10 thou behind the edge. It's very slicey. Full flat grind. It is a cutting beast. And Cruwear at 65 HRC is amazing. Nice micarta handles, micarta pens, micarta liners. Look at that. We got a brass lanyard tube right here. Such a fire knife right here. It's a great size for EDC. Let's go ahead and talk about the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. Now, out of the 3 of these knives, I have the most use on this one right here, though I don't have any videos on it. But I can tell you guys right now, it's worth its weight in gold as far as a pocket knife goes. Even though the HRC is actually low on this, it's somewhere right around 62.5 HRC, give or take. I've gotten some data off of Love Them Knives, some of his data sheets on heat treatments from Spyderco. But so this is the softest of the 3. But that doesn't mean anything, because this is still on the factory edge, and all I've done was strop this thing up and it comes right back. That's another thing that I really love about Cruwear steel. You know, see, Cruwear was made, you know, for the tooling industry, for stamping and forming tools, tire shredders, for scrap clippers, for things kind of like rolls, for thread dyes, you know, anything in that type of thing, stamping, things more intricate, you know, harder steel, more finer processes with better tolerances. So what you get when you put that in a knife steel is you get a finer grain structure with the ability to have thinner geometry, which means, what I'm saying is, it'll have you can take thinner blade stock. We'll just use the Huck as an example because it is the thinnest of the 3. You can get a high hardness Cruwear, thin blade stock, very thin behind the edge thickness, so the thin BTE and have no issue laying the edge angle back. Let's say most knives you would want to keep the edge angle somewhere at like an 18, maybe a 20-degree edge angle. Well, you can lay that back on the CPM Cruwear down to a 15, and it efficiently cuts through material better than a higher edge angle would. And you don't have to worry about chipping. It just resists all that because of the grain structure, because of the vanadium carbides being really hard and small. Just in case, like the microscopic level, if fractures do happen, it doesn't spread really far like it would from a chromium carbide. You know, so that's just one of the benefits of having a powdered steel and a super steel. It just really helps. Now, Cruwear itself, it has an impact toughness of like 70 foot-pounds at like 60 HRC. Now, I don't know anything else as far as anything over 60 HRC, but that's pretty daggone good if you ask me. And one thing about Cruwear is it does have better edge retention than what it gets credit for, because Cruwear is one of them steels like 14C28M where the thinner you go with the steel and the thinner you go with the actual apex of the angle of the edge, the better it performs. And like I said, it resists any chipping, any fracturing or anything like that. It just works really good. And one thing I'll say about Cruwear, a lot of other steels are good like this too, like 3V, is you can DLC coat it, PVD coat it, do the nitrate coating, and you don't have any issues. It's compatible with it because of the process of how they do the steel. So what I can say for me personally, Cruwear, look up in the left hand corner and you'll see a chart of the compound of what all is in Cruwear. It's only 7.5% chromium, so it isn't a stainless steel. And I know I have said I really love my stainless steels, but Cruwear is my favorite powdered steel, and it's not stainless, but I've never had an issue with Cruwear. Let's use the PM2 for example. I have had this out in the snow, on the river, in my pocket on the hottest, sweatiest days. I've had it in rainy days. I've had it in all conditions. I've cut all food with it. Any food you can think of, I've cut it with it. And it's got no staining. It has no corrosion. It's in excellent condition. And this is not a coated blade. So I'm just saying, Cruwear, at least in my environment, I don't have an issue with anything staining or corrosion. So it's perfect for me. I think that everything you get as far as edge retention, as far as toughness goes, because it's almost as tough as 3V, but it has better edge retention than 3V, and it is a little bit more corrosion resistant. You're always going to give something and you're going to lose something. You always will when it comes to steel. I think that Cruwear, in my opinion, is one of them steels that it gives you everything that you need, and you kind of get the benefits of everything all in one. You know what I'm saying? It's like you don't have too much of this and too little of that. It kind of it's all evened out, and it's just such a good steel. And I highly recommend anything Cruwear, as long as it's heat treated right. The thinner it is, the better it is, because it can handle it. It really can. Now, I'd like to give me a nice Cruwear chopper and see what that's working with. I've never had a Cruwear chopper. In fact, my first Cruwear knife was a Benchmade Adamas 275. That's kind of where it all started. High hardness Adamas. You know, 64 HRC. That was the hardest steel I'd had at that point. I fell in love with it. I tested it, and that knife kicked so much ass. I fell in love with Cruwear. But to this day, I still think Cruwear is my favorite steel, and as far as powdered steel, super steel goes, and I think it's going to remain that way until I can find something that I like that I think's more well-rounded. Now, I'm sure that there's a better steel out there. So far, this is it for me. You know how you just find your steel? This is kind of my steel. I appreciate everybody who watched the video. I appreciate everybody who supports the channel. Once again, shout out to Don with Blessed Knives. Shout out to Steve Kallari Customs. Check their Instagram in the description out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love Cruwear steel. I appreciate you guys. One last thing. If you're an addict, never quit quitting. Stay strong and live long. If you're struggling with bad thoughts, reach out and talk to somebody. It is okay to talk. Never quit quitting and never give up. Take it easy and stay greasy, y'all. Peace.